This session is going to be recorded today, so if you have to jump out and jump back in, you'll have a chance to hear it after. So hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Ken Prue. I'm the Director of Event Management at Telefilm. I'm in Montreal, and I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge the Telefilm Canada Montreal office, the office that I'm working from. Well, I'm at home. I'm not obviously not in the office, but I am in Montreal. Is situated in the traditional and unceded territory of the Ganyangahaga, a place which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange amongst nations. I say all this to practice gratitude for the land and to pay respect to the lineage of Indigenous peoples who have lived in right relation with this land for thousands of years. It is now home to many First Nation, Inuit, and Métis communities. So thanks so much for joining us today. We've been doing a series of webinars over the past few months. You may have joined us for one with Sean Fennell that we did about film festival distribution and how you can distribute your film through film festivals. It was great. And talking with Danielle and Erica and the team, we thought it's a great time to talk about the international services for producers and filmmakers that we can offer. We're seeing everybody getting back to traveling, getting back to events. We know we're not out of the woods yet, but it's nice to get back out there, and we're seeing the demand from the community for support increasing as well. So we thought it was a great time to present this. So I'd love to present to you today Danielle Belanger and Erica Loyola, who are representing our team at Telefilm here today, and they're going to go through all the services that we offer. So I say we get right into it and we start the presentation. Welcome everybody, have a great session, and I present Erica and Danielle.
Yay. Thank you, Ken. So during this webinar, we're going to go into all the details of the international services that we offer for producers and filmmakers to take your projects and films to festivals and markets around the world. So what's the plan for today's webinar? This is everything we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about who can use our international services and what they can help you accomplish. So how our services match your goals. After that, we're going to dive into our call for entries and pre-selection screenings for international festivals, what those are, how they work. Danielle's going to guide you through that. Next up, we'll talk about our talent development initiatives, so training programs around the world where we've secured collaborations so that Canadians can participate. For number 4, we'll talk about financing forums connected to festivals. So these are ideal if you're looking for co-production partners or financing at the international level. So we'll give you a few examples. After that, we'll talk about our market initiatives to showcase works in progress or projects and companies on the market circuit. So there's a slight difference there. We'll dive into that. And next, we'll talk about Telefilm support for films once they get selected into festivals or into forums. So we have an international promotion program, which provides funding if you need to attend or if you need to promote your film once it's selected. And last but not least, we'll talk about where and how to navigate our online tools. Just a little bit of a show on the website, how to register so that you never miss a deadline. You get all the information about how to submit. And finally, we'll have a Q&A time. It'll be about 20 minutes, and we'll also give your contact information in case you need to follow up with anything. So let's go right into it. Who can use our international services? So our services are open to any Canadian film or co-productions. Our services are not just for those films or producers who are financed by the Canadian Feature Film Fund, aka Telefilm. So all Canadian producers, filmmakers, sales agents. There's no limitations to that. And what our services help you accomplish? Basically, with this information and with our services, you should be able to submit to international festivals, take your films to international markets, look for co-production opportunities or partners, promote your film as a producer maybe who doesn't have a sales agent. This information should also help you develop a festival strategy. Represent your film if you're selected at a festival, and last but not least, gain training at a lab or maybe even develop your project through mentorship and also access financing forums. So Danielle is gonna run you through the call for entries now.
Hi, so this is key. The call for entries is how you get information from us. It's always on a website under telefilm.ca under festival and market, but I recommend highly that you subscribe. This way you'll get it on a monthly basis, the information. So what kind of information can you expect from the calls for entry? Well, we actually track and update information on more than 100 festivals abroad and 30 financing forum as well. And as I mentioned, we publish them on a monthly basis. And these are share information, meaning that these are not calls for entry regarding festival in which we are involved. It's basically information, and it's a selection of festival that we consider that you should consider. And it's information to help you plan and strategize the festival circuit abroad. So what kind of information? Basically, we're highlight upcoming deadlines, the festival profile, meaning what type of section do they offer for international content, meaning Canadian content, if they offer awards, if they charge entry fee, and when available, we like to point out and indicate if there are professional industry professional attending, or if this is only a festival for the general public, general audience. So we like to point that to you and make that distinction. In other words, what the festival may offer to your film if you are invited there. In terms of the festival, we realize this is just information on a small volume of festival because there's so many more out there. But how do we base our selection? Well, we actually select festival that will make a difference for your film and your career. And these are the festivals you should first think of and target the very first month that you start submitting your film. And after 3 or 6 months targeting what we call A-list festival, well, then or even after your world premiere is confirmed, you should consider, of course, there are many more festivals, specialized one, thematic one, and regional festival. So keep in mind that there are a number of other festivals, but the ones that we publish information on are the ones that you probably should start planning, putting in your planner for your festival strategy. A number of these festivals, you will notice that they require world, international, or national premiere status for your film. And that's because they seek very new and recent film because they have competitive section to offer. And they also have professional attendees. So this means that they look for new film, and because they have the capacity to attract distributor, broadcaster, journalists, and festival programmer. So in that way, that's why the requirement is high, because they have a lot to offer to you. And now the next slide is another type of information you would get through the calls for entries. And this is a very special service we have for you and your film. We organize what we call pre-selection screening. And what does that mean is that we actually organize private screening in a theater for the festival programmer. And we only do that for 6 festivals around the world. So on the slide, you see the red dots. These are the festival for which we organize screening. So we start the year with the Cannes Film Festival. So the screening we organize are happening in March. And then in April, we have the programmer from the Locarno Film Festival, which is in Switzerland, followed by Karlovy Vary, which is a A-list festival, but in Czech Republic, followed by Busan, which is in South Korea. Busan actually travel, like all these programmers actually travel to Montreal. So Busan is here in July, and then the Berlinale and Sundance Film Festival people, they actually screen film in early September, right before they actually attend the Toronto Film Festival. So for these 6 festivals, we offer you the privilege to be seen in the best condition, like on the big screen. And we have the senior programmer of those festivals traveling to Montreal, and they provide us all their attention on the Canadian lineup. And we don't make a pre-selection. Now, the word pre-selection means that the festival programmer will actually make a pre-selection, not a final one. So they will screen, you know, we might have 50 to 60 feature film to show them. So anything that we receive that is eligible for that festival, we will show them. They screen over a period of 3-4 days. And after that, they make a short list, meaning that out of all those films, they will make a short list that can include 5 to 15 titles. And these will be the titles that will move on to step 2, which will be, meaning that they will be seen by the rest of the committee for a final evaluation and decision. So in other words, they come to Montreal, they screen all the films, and then they make a short list, and we let you know if you've been refused or if you're on that short list, and that means that you may have a chance to be invited. So that's a very special and we're screening that we organize, and we're very honored to have the decision maker coming to Montreal and have them with us for a few days and watch all the Canadian feature. So next, we're going to move to another slide about training programs with Erica.
Before we move there, maybe we want to talk about San Sebastian, Rotterdam, and Tribeca.
Sure, this, I didn't mention those, but these are there because we have a different type of a collaboration with those festivals. San Sebastian is in Spain, and then Rotterdam is in the Netherlands, Tribeca in New York City. And with those, what we are able to offer you is either a waiver for the registration fee that you have a waiver code, or a discount registration fee. And for those festivals, we oversee the registration process. So meaning we discuss with them, we make sure that we track film, they have all the film, we reach out to you to make sure you submit to those festivals. So this is a different type or level of collaboration we have, again, with some A-list festivals.
Thank you. So now let's talk about talent development and training programs. So the ones that you'll see here are, again, the ones that we collaborate with to ensure Canadian participation. And we've organized them by level of experience so that you might be able to place yourself there in that continuum and see which one might be a good fit for you. We'll go over them. So if you're new to features, we would recommend the Berlinale Talents, which is a very curriculum-based program for emerging directors, screenwriters, producers, and a lot of other trades. So this is one of the few that's open to more than just producers or writer-directors. But it is very similar to like being in school. It happens during the Berlinale Film Festival, so you do get to be part of the festival. It's quite big. The selection can be about 200 film professionals there. Another option is that the EFM Diversity and Inclusion Toolbox. It's a program by the EFM, so kind of the other branch of the Berlinale, the market. It's for fiction feature film producers or filmmakers from underrepresented groups. It takes place a little bit before and at the beginning of the EFM. So they teach you how to navigate and how to work a market as a newcomer. Now, if you have maybe finished or about to finish your first feature and you are more emerging on the international level, so not on national, you kind of want to start learning about how to co-produce, we recommend the Rotterdam Lab. Again, this is also a curriculum-based program where you're really learning the 101s of what co-productions look like, how to shape them from the beginning. And we do have a requirement that you're either finished or about to finish with your first feature. That just ensures that you're taking advantage of the program and that you're a really good fit. Now, if you're at the mid-career level, there's a program that we've developed together with EFM called Producers Without Borders. What it does is that it takes producers with a first international project, but you don't need as much, let's say, hand-holding, as much guidance. You know a little bit more about co-productions. Maybe you've assisted produce one, and you want to start working your way to find a co-production partner. And next up, we have EAVE. It's a European program on an annual format. What that means is that it takes place multiple times across a year in different places. So you have to travel and attend a few sessions throughout the year. So it is a commitment that requires a little bit of scheduling, but it's also really highly regarded for producers with a project that is suitable for co-production. And last but certainly not least, for established producers, we have the ACE annual program, similar to EAVE in Europe, an annual program where you have to go multiple times. At the end of that, you become part of the ACE network, which is a very highly regarded network of independent producers. For this one, you do have to be more experienced, maybe 3 to 4 finished features. You have a project that's suitable for co-production. And this program is very special because they really help you learn how to pitch, how to shape your program, your project, so that you can pitch it to decision makers. So when you see a little asterisk there, it just means that Telefilm and our partners put together the cohort. So we receive the applications and then decide on the participants, but some are not managed by us, they're managed, the applications are directly through them. So EAVE and ACE, you apply directly through them, but we still have a partnership so that we can ensure that Canadians can participate. Next up, we have our financing programs. So the difference here is that these are meant for producers who are seeking either financing or co-production partners at the international level. So in comparison with what we just talked about, it's not so much training, you're more just really looking for someone to come on board with you. You're pitching or you're doing matchmaking. So we've split them into documentary and narrative. However, these are really just samples. There's a ton of other financing forums out there. But the ones that we have listed here, we recognize in our international promotion program, which we'll talk about in a minute. So for documentary, if you're a documentarian, the Edinburgh pitch allows filmmakers and producers with a creative feature doc suitable for international co-pro. Like the name says, it's a pitch. Big Sky Pitch USA, it's for filmmaking teams with a work in progress doc. And IDFA Market, it's actually kind of a multi-branch program. So filmmakers with docs in many, many different stages of development and production can actually apply and find the branch or the stream that really fits them. And there's different curriculums. There's pitching, there's one-on-one meetings. It's really something to look into. If you're working on a documentary, there's a lot of opportunities there. If you're on the narrative side, we'll go over the Berlinale Co-Pro Forum, which is a step up, or we recommend doing it after you do Producers Without Borders. So in Producers Without Borders, you're going to kind of see how the action happens and learn in an intuitive way. Whereas for the Berlinale Co-Pro Forum, you really have to submit a project. There's a selection, and then you're doing one-on-one meetings with financiers. JETS is almost like not the opposite, but it is really for first, second, and third feature filmmakers. It is a pitch. So emerging producers are pitching their project that is suitable for co-production. It happens at the same time as the Berlinale in tandem. It's not organized by the Berlinale. The Forum de Namur is for producers and writers with a French feature in development. So if there's any of you attending today who are working on a French feature, this is something that we recommend looking into. In a similar way, the Rencontre de Coproduction Francophone is for Francophone projects at large. They take all genres, animation, fiction, docs. And then going back to Los Cabos Festival Industry Days, this is a pitch for works in progress that are really for the North American market. So if you think that your project is really like hits an audience there, or is very specific cultural wise, or you already have your rights managed in Europe and you really want to focus on the North American market, this is something very interesting to look at. It happens in the fall. And last but not least, Cinemart at the Rotterdam Festival. Kind of similar format as the Berlinale Co-Pro Forum, very like one-on-one meetings, you're pitching your project to financiers, however, different style of filmmaking. So Rotterdam really shines for being a place for independent producers to create more experimental, more auteur pieces. So this is the right place for you if that's what you're working on. And Danielle is gonna go over the market initiatives that we also do.
And so these that we point out on that slide are different initiatives that we organize, that Telefilm organizes and is involved with, but they may change. So these are just given to you as example. And again, this is the kind of information you would only get if you subscribe to our call for entries. And if you click when you register, we'll show that later, but you can have the option of wanting just the festival call for entries, anything to do with festival, but also I would highly recommend that you also click for pick also the market call for entry. So anything to do with co-production, forum, training, and also market initiative would be under market calls for entries. So these are examples that what we may offer, depending on the market, we select market, and that may be shared with you through calls for entry. So for example, in the past, we've done some market screening. So we help out producer or sales agent with a Canadian feature, doc, or narrative to have a showcase at a market. So we brand that, we call it Perspective Canada. So it's actually, you submit to us, and generally we would not so much curate it as long as the film is new and answer a few criteria. Then we would have a showcase and we would book the market screening, and your film would benefit from some support, financial support from us. We actually finance a part of the cost of the market screening, but more than that, we would support this initiative with some promotion in trade magazine or on the web. And so it's called Perspective Canada. It gives you a perspective of what's new on the market, available for the market. So we've done that in the past at the Cannes market and at the Berlin Alley market. Another type of a market screening or showcase of recent film is called Not Short on Talent, and as the title suggests, this is a curated program of new short film. By new, we would be very specific in the call for entries about criteria. We look for new film because all these market screening are meant for professional looking for new film. So you would be basically, maybe you've shown your film in Canada, but abroad, it's still pretty new in terms of content, fresh content. That's what the buyers and the festival programmer are looking for. So Not Short on Talent, generally, when we publish a calls for entry, we receive close to 200 submissions. And this one is a curated program. We have a consultant specialized in programming shorts at festival that screen them all and then make a final selection. And the program will be, in the end, a 2-hour program of a number of shorts. It would be between 6 and 8 short film of different genre, different diversity. And these would be showcased at the Cannes market, because Cannes market has a special dedicated space, physical space, and also virtual space dedicated to short film. And so these this showcase will only be seen not by the general public, but really by professional, the accredited professional that are looking specifically for short film. So we do that twice a year. That's on a recurrent basis. The Cannes market and the Clermont-Ferrand, which is in France, Clermont-Ferrand Film Festival as a market component. And Clermont-Ferrand is the biggest market and festival in terms of short film, and it's international. So attendees are from all over Europe, and some are from Asia and North America. Another type of initiative that we do organize or work on is what we call pitching and matchmaking. So unlike what Erika just spoke about, these are initiative and event to which you would only be able to submit through us, because they're not open as such on the web. We have a collaboration and an agreement with those organizations. So for example, once a year, we publish a call for entry for the Gotham Week, which is in New York City. And the Gotham Week will make the final selection, but we receive the entries from the producer who have a work in progress. And again, a set of criteria will be very clear in the call for entries, and the set of criteria is aligned with what the Gotham Week promotes and is looking for. And so these are for a work in progress, narrative, or doc that are suitable for the US market. So either you're at development stage or you have a work in progress in post-production, and you're looking for actually visibility, and you're looking for either financier, or you already are, your work is already almost done, so you're looking for broadcaster, for example. So this is aimed at the US market. The Doc in Progress is another initiative for docs only. It's going on at the Cannes market. So again, these initiatives, now that COVID is almost over, or at least the festival are back on site, you have to be available to attend those events. So the Gotham Week is in September. Doc in Progress at the Cannes market is in May. Again, these are, if you have a doc in progress, you can submit, and then a selection is made. This, we partner with a festival, the equivalent of Hot Docs, but in Montreal, called Les Rencontres Internationales du Documentaire. And those programmers will make the final choices of 4 documentaries. And those 4 documentaries will benefit from mentorship prior to the actual event. And you'll have to prepare a pitch, you'll have to prepare an excerpt of your work in progress, and then you'll have to attend the event in Cannes and pitch to professionals on site. Another type of initiative that we support and organize is directly concerning the animators. So it's called Meet the Animators at the MIFA, which is a market, the market component of the Annecy International Film Festival, specialized in animation. So we have a pavilion there, and we carry different activities, and one of them is matchmaking, helping you find a co-producer partner. So we call that a matchmaking session, and we have pitch session to support your co-production. So these are some of the, gives you an idea, and again, this may change. We might add different initiatives throughout the years. And Erica will talk then about what is actually what I just mentioned, the pavilion, the Canada Pavilion.
Great, thank you, Danielle. So a big part of our services is what we call the Canada Pavilion. It is basically a business center plus promotional initiatives at major markets. They're meant to support sales and networking activities. We do this in collaboration with our provincial and federal agencies. And this service is really for Canadian audiovisual professionals and companies attending international markets and festivals. So think about it as like a hub where Canadians can take advantage of having a space to make meetings with other international professionals, and also where we do our activities like Danielle was mentioning, matchmaking, networking events, and many others. So they are there as a resource when you're going abroad. These are the ones that we currently where we're at. So the European film market at Berlin, MIP TV in France, the Marché du Film in Cannes, MIFA also in France, Sunny Side of the Dock in France, and MIPCON in France in October. So if you are a content producer, maybe you're getting to the level where you're forming your own company and you're really looking to promote your content, there's many different options in which you can participate at the Canada Pavilion. And then all those companies and professionals that are going to be attending, we promote them through RDV Canada. So rdvcanada.ca has for festivals or market pages where we have directories on the companies, the professionals, and the film projects or completed films that are either selected or being featured at those markets. So it's that's how you would also benefit from all the promotion that we do about Canadians at a specific market, because we would then take RDV and really put it everywhere where other professionals can find it, like advertorials, online, newsletters, etc. So yeah, if you're ever at that level, really consider joining us. It's a great space for you to conduct business. And now Danielle's going to tell us, once you're selected, what's next?
Well, what's next? very often the question is, oh, I'd like to attend. And it's actually, you are invited, but not just your film, you are invited as a filmmaker and producer to attend the event. So whether it is for, as we just mentioned, for one of the financing forum that we recognize, or for a festival, work in progress or finished work, well, we have a program which is called International Promotion Program. And this program provides financial support to Canadian producer, filmmaker, and sales agent, if you have one, with project. And that involves either a feature, a short, a TV series, or recently we also had a number of events for XR works. And so if you are selected at the festival or you have your project in development, you can look up for the list that we have that we recognize, and that will help you to have some financial support. The contribution is actually a grant, and that will help you to travel, attend the event, and promote your work. And we also cover promotional costs. If you need a publicist, if you need to print something or do a campaign over the web. Application for that program, or just the requirement is that you need to have a company. So let's say you just made a short film and you don't have a registered incorporated company. Well, this is basically, if for any payment, we need we can only do payment to a Canadian-owned company. So applications should always come, even if it's for the filmmaker to travel, it needs to come from the sales or production company, and you need to have the official invitation. Once you get the official invitation, you may apply. And it's open, that financing program is open to any recognized Canadian production, meaning again, it's not just for the film that we may have supported through the production program, but it's open to any Canadian short feature film or TV series. And we have a list of recognized events for which we may, meaning that we recognize them and you can apply. And we recognize a large number of feature film festival. So we recognize 126 for feature. We recognize 26 festivals that are specialized in short film. We are recognizing 3 events for TV series. These are festival. We just add them this year. We just add also 4 major festivals that exhibit XR works. And we recognize 26 financing forum and development training. And this year, we also add a large number of new, I would say, more specialized and thematic and focused festival. So you may want to update yourself if you already knew about the program. We always increase the number and add new festival. So you may look that on our website. We're going to move on to what's next after the festival. We also have another service. This part of the service is that Telefilm actually have agreement with 2 digital platforms. Festival Scope is one of them. And so if your film is on the festival circuit abroad, outside Canada, or even in Canada, actually, we do recognize that also. Festival Scope is their office is in Paris. It's a unique and secure international platform consult only by film professional worldwide. So people get a membership. Actually, if you're professional, whether you are a festival programmer, a buyer, distributor, so mainly it's for festival programmer looking up for film that are currently on the festival circuit. So, but buyers and distributor also consult it. So this platform, the way it works is that Festival Scope has a newsletter, a weekly newsletter, where they will promote, here's what on the festival circuit at the moment, and they may highlight a festival. Let's say Hot Dogs just happened, they will promote certain films that were at Hot Dogs, awarded or not, and they will make the selection. They are a kind of curator of content. But they also invite us to make suggestions if we're aware that a number of film Canadian film were on the festival circuit this summer. we have our own page on that platform, and it says Canadian content, Telefilm Canada. And so these will be the newest page is actually what's going on this summer. So we had film at the Locarno Film Festival, at the Marseille Film Festival. So we provide title, and Festival Scope may invite you to be part of that page of the content. And so we discuss with them, it's a dialogue, but they recognize a number of festivals. Then again, it's not any festival, but they have partnership with hundreds of festivals. I believe it's around 300 festivals. So they will invite a film to be shown. And of course, they'll be dealing with the agreement with the right owner. And this is just a chance to be promoted towards professional. And then you can decide also who may, every time a professional wants to screen your film, they have to ask for permission. And then you can decide if you want a producer to see your film or a festival curator, etc. So this is an opportunity, and once in a while we change our content 5 times a year. So you may hear about Festival Scope through them and with us, or through us. Another type of collaboration we have, which is totally different, My French Film Festival is an online festival. It occurs in January, from mid-January to mid-February. It's once a year. It's an annual event. And they have developed a partnership with multiple consumer platforms around the world. So the benefit is that they are all over the world, and they show French language film. So our partnership with them, because it's organized by the French governmental agency called Unifrance, they promote French language film, meaning from France, from Belgium, and Canada were invited 8 years ago to participate to their platform. So once a year, there's a curation going on, and one feature film, a narrative feature film from Canada, may be exposed and promoted through that platform, as well as one short film. Once they make their selection of that, of the short and the feature film, these will be translated by My French Film Festival in 12 different languages, and they will be showcased on the different partnering platforms. So to sum up, Festival Scope is dedicated and reserved to professional, and My French Film Festival is open to the public worldwide. And now, Erica, I think we're about to show people where to find all this information online.
Yeah. So bear with me for this part. We're very close to getting to your questions now. So I'll show you where to submit to these initiatives and where to get the information about festival deadlines, criteria. But I'll talk to you about these 3 different websites that I want to show you. So first, I'll show you how to subscribe to our calls for entries so that you don't miss the submissions and deadlines. I can't switch back my screen, so I'll just talk about them first. Next, we'll show you where to find the International Promotion Program. It is actually under the finance inside of our website, and that's where you would apply if your film or your project in development is selected. And last but not least, I'll show you rdvcanada.ca, which is where you can register if you're attending a festival or a market and want to be part of the directories of Canadian companies, projects, and producers. And like we had mentioned at the beginning, there is a new website coming in September. It'll look a lot more modern, but these 3 are not gonna change. You're still gonna find them there. So just give me a second while I go to those places. Almost there. There we go. And share again. Can you see my screen now? Danielle, do you see
No.
the subscription page?
No.
Okay. There we go. Okay. I think that should be working now.
Yay.
Yay.
There it is.
Yeah, so telefilm.ca newsletter sign up. We'll need, of course, your email. We recommend ticking both of these, call for entries for international festivals and call for entries for international markets, so that you can receive information about both. And sometimes there's going to be initiatives that are happening in the context of a market, but are really worthwhile for you to apply or submit. So that's why we recommend joining both. And we'll also ask you what language you want to receive the information. We share the information at the same time in both English and French. That's the one page where to sign up to stay informed. Then the international promotion program that we talked about, it is under financing, like I was mentioning. So when you go to telefilm.ca, the first tab you're going to find is financing, and then you move to international promotion program right here. First, text is a little bit of context, but really what you want to see is the appendix, the second PDF here. It has the list of festivals and the amount that you would be eligible for, depending on the tier of the festival. So if you really want to start planning and you are starting from scratch, you need a list. This is a great place to start. You're going to see the list of festivals that that we recognize as part of this program. And then once you start diving deeper, you might have a lot of questions. And the essential information guide is basically an FAQ. So most likely the answer to your question is right there as a PDF. And then rdvcanada.ca, it's our, let's say, our international website. So it's a website that we use to promote Canadian companies, productions, and producers attending markets or festivals. So here you would see the most recent festivals or markets where Canada has been represented, and you can explore the activities that are going in there and the directories, like I was mentioning. So this is the website that we use to do all the promotion ahead and during a market and a festival. So that's it for the content. We'll move to your questions now. I'm just gonna go back to my slides. Great. Right. So before we go to questions, Danielle is going to go over how to contact us and what kind of questions we can help you with.
Yes, so very quickly, because we don't have much time and we know you have many questions, but if we don't get to your question, we'll be in touch. You can contact us. There are 8 of us in our sector. So instead of putting all the 8 email, I suggest if you have a question regarding festival, you can address it to festival@telefilm.ca, and then one of us will answer, depending of if we work on a specific festival. It might be me, it might be another person. And then for market, anything to do with Canadian Pavilion and other aspect of the initiative programming, you can address it to market@telefilm.ca. And more specifically, on a year round, I'm very much involved with the pre-selection screening and the festival in general, and so are some of my colleagues, but I would invite you to contact me if you have questions regarding pre-selection, what you actually receive by the calls for entries in regards to festival, and I can help you out with the strategy as well. So these are the generic one. Eventually you'll get more personal with someone specific, and if you have a question about festival, again, you can address it to myself. And now we're ready for moving on to the question period.
Great. So I'm seeing here some of the questions. Okay, maybe Danielle, do you want to answer the question about pre-selection screenings? Do they accept shorts?
No, pre-selection, because it involves different programmer, we do that work for feature film only, no shorts.
Okay. So Olga is asking, how does the pre-selection process differ from just applying directly to the festival?
Yeah, I will answer that. Well, first of all, if you submit directly, it would be on a website. You wouldn't know who would have seen your film. There may be different viewers before even it gets to a programmer. And you would be seen on, maybe, I'm sorry to say it, but maybe on a laptop, maybe on a small screen. You never know if you're going to be, some festival receive 2,000 application. And so it's not like everything will be seen on a big screen. So advantages to submit through us is really about having the decision maker in a room and being seen on a big screen. Basically, this is what it is. And also you get an answer very quickly. If you apply right now to the Sundance Film Festival or Berlin, then you'll have to wait for a final decision that will be delivered to you probably in 4, 5, 6 months from now. Whereas with the pre-selection, you would receive an answer after the screening session, meaning maybe 5 days afterwards. You remember I mentioned they will make a short list. So if you're not on the short list, and unfortunately, if you're not on that list, well, then at least it's negative answer, but you'll be able to move on. You won't have to wait 5 months and hold on your world premiere for that festival. In case you are selected, you'll already be able to submit to other festivals. So Sundance and Berlin are here in September. Well, then by September, end of September, you know if you're in or out, and if you're moving to step 2 or not. So you'll be able to plan more easily and say, okay, I'm not into Berlin, I can move on and submit to other festivals. So many advantages to be seen through that process.
So we had a question a little bit ago about it. Does this invitation come from Telefilm or the festival? And I think Catherine is asking about the invitation that you need to apply to the international promotion program.
Yeah, invitation letter is the one that shows that you are officially invited by that festival or by that financing forum. So it's not a letter coming from us, but from the event that pick your film or your project.
Great. We have a question from Ross. He's saying, my wife and I are DIY Canadian filmmakers. If we apply for travel funds to a festival, do we have to be a corporation?
Yes, you have to have a company, because it's just a question of administration. Telefilm can only issue payment to a company and not to an individual or an artist. Like if you work with the Canada Art Council, you may be, your status as an artist, you don't need a company, but with Telefilm, you do need to have a company.
Okay, and a follow-up question, is sole proprietorship sufficient as a company? I don't think so. You mean you own the whole rights of your project or your film? I don't believe that would constitute a company. You do have to register, right?
Yes, you have to register and be incorporated.
Right. So we have a question about the IDFA market from Marie Botti.
Yeah.
She says,
how to set up one-on-one. Okay, so the IDFA, again, if you have to look up on the web. We didn't issue a call for entry yet for this one, for the market side. So it's connected to a festival, but this market side, we didn't publish this year call for entry. But all this to say that you just have to apply directly if you have a project in development. And if you are selected, then they would invite you and you would have a whole schedule of one-on-one meeting organized by them. So it's not like we're giving you travel money to explore and observe. No, if you are selected with a project, then you can apply for our support to attend the event because you were chosen and you have an invitation letter.
And IDFA is in November. I believe
Yes.
we just recently added it to the festivals that we
recognize. Yeah.
sorry, going back to the top to see, can Canadian films not financed by Telefilm access the Canadian Pavilion?
Yes, yes, actually. Well, there are different formulas. Like at a TV market such as MIPCOM or MIPTV, we have private booth. Companies will rent those and pay a certain fee to have a private space to conduct meeting. We also have pavilion that are more open and on just on a basis of first come, first serve. If there are some seating place that or for everyone that comes for, a certain time. So it really depends of the market, the formula, and the mode of operation is different. But you are welcome as a Canadian. It's like your house. You can even receive messages. We have always some hostess that take messages for Canadian attending the market. Mm-hmm. So you are welcome. If you're not, if you didn't register and didn't rent the space, you're still welcome and to come and have meetings there. Or, as I said, it really depends on the market, but there's always a basic service of messaging and a hostess, and you can certainly come and meet with us.
We have a quite interesting question from Michael. It's a big world outside of Canada. Are there countries and film festivals that have a pronounced appetite for features and shorts from Canada?
Oh, I like the word pronounced appetite.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
Well, I must say, having worked a number of years here at Telefilm, we all well recognize for docs and for narrative and for short film. We also track where films were selected at. So for all the film that we publish a call for entry, for each festival that we publish a call for entry, we also track what was selected this year. And so there's a connection between the call we publish, the recognition or appetite for Canadian content. And also that's why we provide travel support, because we become competitive, because the European also support their filmmaker to attend festival. So it's very important. We reach out to you through calls for entry. We invite you to submit, and then we support you to attend those events, because this is how we can position ourselves in competition with other countries in the world. So I don't have a specific list to tell you, oh yeah, that festival versus that festival, but you can be assured that when we publish a call for entries, it means that they cannot avoid us. They receive maybe 35 entries of feature film and 15 docs. So they are, we have a relationship with some of them as well. So we know that by increasing the number of submissions, they will screen more films. And especially because most of our film are not represented by sales agent, we need to be very competitive. And as a producer and filmmaker, you have to handle your own strategy and make sure you do submit. And so once you submit, again, you'll probably be invited, and they may offer accommodation, but not so much the air flight. So this is where we support you through the international promotion program.
And if you're looking to do some research, also rdvcanada.ca is a really good, I would say, source of information if you're looking to see the selection of Canadian projects at different festivals, because we do keep the historical just like page per festival. If you go to the products or the in selection part, you'll see, oh, okay, at Sunny Side of the Dog, these were the Canadian projects selected last time. So just kind of staying current with what's on the market and on the festival circuit. We have one from Richard. Forum de Namur, is French feature a designation for films in French or films shot in France?
No, it means French language Canadian film shot in Canada. Mm-hmm.
Great. Then we have Alexandra is asking, can you apply to pre-selections and the regular submission? Are there any negatives from doing pre-selections? And who picks the pre-selection, Telefilm or the festival?
As I mentioned, this is because we use the word pre-selection, seems to be confusing for a number of you, and you're not the only one. We're not pre-selecting anything. We just oversee the registration And then we show them all the films that we receive, and they make a pre-selection, meaning while they're in the screening room, they won't make a final decision because we have decision makers, but it's a democratic process. So they want to discuss with the rest of the selection committee back home. So when they'll return, let's say Sundance Screen Film, make a short list, and then they will discuss the film that they have shortlist with the rest of the committee back in LA. And then the final decision comes once they've seen films from all over the world. So it's just a step one of a process, but I don't see any negative point in being seen on the big screen by senior programmers. Unless you see one, tell me, because, and I wouldn't do that twice. It's not, I'm increasing my chances. I will submit directly, they'll know. Once you submit to them, well, they're the same people. The one that are responsible for the Canadian content are responsible. So whether they see your film here in Montreal to the screening or back in LA, let's say for Sundance, well, you're talking to the same people. So actually they will see that you submitted twice.
Great. We have a question from Momo. Can you speak more on the Rotterdam Lab for emergent producers, directors? What is the process required to apply, and does Telefilm assist applicants? Do we apply through Telefilm, and where can we go for more information on this? I'm going to find a link while you maybe share a bit.
Well, it's on the web. You can look at Rotterdam Lab. It's the criteria are very clear. It's mostly a producer's profile. So it's not for filmmaker, this one. It's really for a producer. And criteria are aligned with the one we publish on our call for entry is what actually Rotterdam Lab looks for. And Rotterdam Lab has about 30 institutions that are partnering with them from different countries, meaning that Telefilm is one of them, but they have the same type of partnering with a governmental agency around the world. And so we recommend for this one specifically, they're not the one making the final choices. We are, and we have a committee, and it's based on the profile and on the project. So the criteria, the set of criteria to be eligible is very clear. And then once you're there, it's a 4-day training. So it's really, you sit down and you listen to panel, you participate to discussion. But the really added value is about also networking with producers from all over the world that are at the same level as you are in terms of co-production and also project development. And so the same criteria are applied for all the participants that are from all over the world. In the end, the number of participants are, I think, close to 50 or 60. And you're all together and you have specialists from talking about financing, different funds in Europe if you want to do co-production. They will discuss also marketing, distribution, festival strategy, all this over a 4-day period.
And we'll answer one last question. There's a question that I may accidentally have moved about the IFF. It is a forum that takes place in Canada. So the services and the funding that we're talking about here for international promotion is for programs, festivals, and markets outside of Canada. That's why you don't see it in that list. But the last question for you, Danielle.
You mean the one in Atlantic?
No, the one at TIFF. Organized by Ontario, by Ontario Creates.
Okay.
Yeah. So the last question we'll take from Alice Liu is, how can a short film get curated on the Festival Scope website?
We are starting to consider adding them because so far we've been focusing on feature film, whether it's a doc or a narrative. And so we had actually this year for the first time introduced the curated program, the one that was already curated for Clermont-Ferrand. So this happened in February. So once the program at the market was shown, right after we included on our Festival Scope webpage. And so this was already curated. It's not like we add any short film on the festival circuit. It was really about we have that program at the market, we'll give it another chance on the Festival Scope page. And the film were shown for 3 to 4 months. And we may consider adding short. It's just more a question of space and time, but Festival Scope is open to also showing short film. So you may want to follow our page. You may, if we decide to add some short film, then we would go through the festival circuit. So it's either through the Not Short on Talent program already curated by us, by the consultant who does it for us, or if we spot some short film that are at the Cannes Festival or Sheffield, or we have a number of festivals that we track, and the same for Festival Scope, and we may add some short film once in a while.
Great. I was just answering some questions
online
in writing. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's all the time that we have now. However, we do have your questions and you do have our contact information. So if you have any specific questions or specific cases that you want to talk to us about, feel free to reach out at any of those addresses at any point in the year. This is just kind of where the festival cycle, it starts again. So it felt like a good time to share this information with you. And with that, we'll just say thank you again for joining us today. It was really great to be able to share all these services. Yeah, like I said, we hope that this info was helpful, and reach out to us anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.